Hello everybody and welcome back to the Splash Recap by UniSwim Canada. That's UNI Swim Canada on Instagram. Today we are recapping all of November across only 3 conferences today because the RSEQ did not swim with their university teams this month. I am Marty. I'm joined by Kelton and we have a very special guest today from the Waterloo Warriors. Thank you, Josh, for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. So, we're going to start with the OUA. The first meet of November in the OUA was the Duel in the Pool hosted by Laurier. And the results from that meet are the exact same from divisionals, which was Brock beat Laurier. Both teams beat York. Simplified, super easy. Now let's go to divisionals, which was the true fun of this month. So if you are not familiar with the OUA, we have 10 teams. They're split into 2 divisions. The top 4 teams are in Division 1. The bottom 6 teams are in Division 2. The winner of Division 2 in combined score moves up to Division 1, and the loser of Division 1 in combined score moves down to Division 2. So you get a little bit of yearly fluctuation, and it's a little tense. You got to not get last. You got to win. So let's start with Division 1. They're men. Toronto, they've been dominant in this conference, of course. They've not lost in a very, very long time. Almost as long as some people in university have been alive, since they've won since the 03-04 school year at the OUA. Kelton, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, it only makes sense that Toronto wins. Like you said, Toronto is dominant. They are one of the best teams in all of the country, so it makes sense that there's no team that can face them in the OUAs when there's only 1 or 2 teams, such as Calgary or UBC, who has a chance of beating them at USport. And on top of that, they have a phenomenal athlete, Benjamin Lowen, who scored a perfect 80 points. He's a very diverse athlete, and you can put him in pretty much anything, and he'll win it.
I agree with that. And now the big one. The reason Josh is here today. The UW Warriors, who constantly comment that we're sleeping on their men's team, were able to defeat Western. They proved myself, Kelton, and Daniel wrong in our divisional predictions, and they beat the Western Mustangs. So Josh, what do you think about the team's success, the team atmosphere? Do any races stand out to you? How did the meet go?
I gotta say, right off the bat, was personally insulted you put us below Western. I knew that our team, we've had a really strong year. We've had a really fantastic recruiting class. And I knew that, I was pretty confident at least, that we were going to be able to beat Western this year. And we did exactly that. But I will say that you were right. It was a very close race. After the first day, we had about a 50-point lead. And then coming into the last couple of races, it was a little tight. I was getting a little worried, but big standout race was our men's 4x100 freestyle. We showed up. We had a great lead off by Raymond Wong, who qualified for USport for the first time, so that was a big moment for our team. And then overall, our entire relay team actually qualified for USports as well, so we were really happy to see that. And coming second in that relay was great to see and gave us an extra 6 points ahead of Western to finish off in a beautiful second place finish overall.
I agree with you. When I saw that you guys made USports in the relay, that was a pretty impressive accomplishment. And I honestly shouldn't have slept on you too much. After you guys really beat Laurier at the Battle of Waterloo, I should have known in that moment that Western wasn't going to beat you guys then too.
Oh, not a chance.
I mean, I thought there was, but you clearly proved me wrong. I also want to point out that this performance did push you guys into the top 10. You are currently ranked 8th in the country in men's swimming, and Western is not on that ranking.
I mean, what can I say? That just shows you how strong our men's team is. I mean, if Western wants to compete with us at OUAs, they're gonna have to show up a bit more.
Oh.
Fighting words, okay.
Those are fighting words. I bet they will show up at OUAs, and I think it's going to be a close battle. But we were talking about this earlier, before we started actually recording. Our first year, Kelton and I's first year at the university level, the Warriors came second in men's. And then last year, the Warriors came third in men's. Will the pattern repeat itself? Will you guys take second place again? Will Western hold on to it? Will someone magically beat UFT? Probably not that one, but only time will tell, you know?
I mean, both teams also have to be worried about McMaster Marauders. They might sneak in and get maybe second or third at OUAs. So there's no point in just focusing on Western, or there's no point in focusing just on UW when the Marauders could just come in and be both of them.
That's right, and that's actually a pretty good segue. We will talk about that now. So, Josh, your coach, Connor Watson, sent me and Unis from Canada a link to a document that he had made, an Excel sheet, with the top, basically with the top results of both divisions, kind of making divisionals as if it was OUAs. So combining those scores up. And currently, according to Connor's math, McMaster is the number 2 team in Ontario. UFT would be number 1 if this had been OUAs. McMaster would have been second. He even put Western at third and Waterloo at fourth.
Yeah, I gotta say, looking at these numbers, it is a little concerning. But CNO Western has 543 points and Waterloo with 480. It's about a 60-point difference. I think we could make that up. Besides, these numbers not entirely accurate. It was only divisionals. Our entire team wasn't 100% tapered, shaved down, the whole works. So, in my opinion, I think going into OUAs, we can shore up a few points here. But I think it would be foolish to sleep on MAC and not consider what they are going to be able to do at OUAs.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because you make a good point. Not everybody's ready to go. Some people at divisionals race extremely fast, and some people add a lot of time. And
I don't know why they're laughing.
And that's just how divisionals go. Sometimes you're ready to go fast, sometimes you aren't. But by OUAs, everybody's shaved, tapered, rested, brand new race suits on. You're ready to go.
Exactly.
So only time will tell. So now moving over to the women, since we've only actually talked about the men in Division 1. Basically what everyone expected. Toronto won, large healthy lead. They are the defending USports champions. Western, second place, of course. UW, you were able to beat Guelph. Guelph's women's team last year was crazy. You guys have clearly had some great recruits come in, have done some great training to be able to beat the Griffins. And it wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be. You guys won by...
Pause for dramatic effect.
UW's women beat Guelph women by 200 points.
Thank you, Kelton. So, Josh, what do you think about the women's team and the success that they've had in this year?
Yeah, it was really great to see. I know that, especially after our dual meet with Guelph at the start of the year, we were pretty confident on the women's ability to beat Guelph as well, because in the past, Guelph usually has beaten our women. They've, as you said, very strong women's team. But we had a strong recruiting class, got a lot of great women, and I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do at OUAs, seeing what they can pull against the MAC team, because in past years, the MAC team has beaten our women's team, unfortunately. So seeing if we can stay ahead of Guelph and maybe even be a bit more competitive with MAC, I'm excited to see that.
I don't think it's going to be hard for you guys to stay ahead of Guelph. I look forward to racing them next year.
But yes, summarizing, Toronto won. Guelph lost the overall score. Their men and women both came last, so they will be moving down to Division 2. And as we've kind of mentioned, as McMaster's team has been so strong, their men and women both won Division 2 and are going to move back up to Division 1, kind of resetting the balance from last year. So let's talk about Division 2. MAC, huge win on the men's side and women's side. Brock's men and women both came second. And then Laurier on the men's side, Laurier came third on the men's side, and they had a very healthy gap between Brock and between Carleton. Famously, of course, having a relay DQ. But one thing I really, really want to mention is Laurier, for the first time since 2013, is sending 2 men to USports. Laurier historically has usually had a very strong women's team. This has been an era in Laurier's history where they actually have a stronger men's team. So again, first time since 2013 that they are sending 2 men. Owen Gibb, who won the 400 IM, and if you look at both divisions combined, would have been second overall, just behind Ben Lowen from the University of Toronto. And Kent Goney is the other swimmer that they are sending to USports. Kelton, do you have anything to add about that?
Not really. I think it's great to see more swimmers from Laurier going to USport. Same with Mac. They had a first-year qualifying the 1500. In the last heat, Owen thought he was going to win it, and then on the last heat, he got beat by about 20 seconds, which is very impressive, to say the least.
Yeah, and then we had Carleton and Queens were in a huge battle. Carleton only got the win by 5 points above Queens, so they're very, very close to each other.
In last place, we had York. However, their best athlete, Eric Ginsberg, is just insane. He got a perfect 80 points, so it's just like he's carrying that team right now. But I do think that they have some other strong athletes, but right now it's just all Eric Ginsberg's show.
I also wanted to mention from Carleton, Finn Tuck qualified for USports in the 200 backstroke. Kind of passing the torch, as it will. They sent one man to USports last year, Cameron Teasdale, and he is now not on the team this year as he's graduated. And so now Finn Tuck has the mantle of the USport swimmer from Carleton. So that's always fun to see. Now let's go to the women. So on the women's side, we had, again, the same winner, McMaster, the same second place, Brock. Third place was Queens. I know, Kelton, you thought that Queens might be able to beat Brock. You thought it was kind of close to each other. Close race, though.
It was close. Less than 20 points separating them. Just a few races. Two placements could have made the difference, but to put Queens up in second place.
And then Laurier in a very, very solid fourth place, over 100 points above Carleton. And then Carleton beating York. So, kind of what we expected for the most part. Little variation.
Just to add, I was honestly shocked to see Carleton below 200 points. Last year, they were above 600 points at the divisionals. So to see them lose 400 points is a little surprising to me. But it doesn't mean they're out of the picture, and they might have a good building year next year.
That's true. They had a big graduating class, but they're going to rebuild. Carleton's a strong team. They still have some strong swimmers to really support and to gather around. So again, only up and up. And York getting 100 points is also fantastic, because that program, again, almost disappeared with the amount of swimmers that they had. They only had a handful. Now they have almost a full team again. So they actually have swimmers in the water. They're getting points. They're getting out there. So it's great to see. Oh, the other thing that I want to mention about the women is, again, if you look at the combined divisional score that was sent to us by one of Waterloo's coaches, McMaster would be third place overall. University of Toronto being in first, Western second, McMaster in third, and just barely behind Waterloo.
Just to add, in the Division 2, Megan Deering scored a perfect 80 points, same as Eric Ginsberg, which just helped Mac solidify their position at first place on the women's side.
All right. I believe that's all we have for divisionals. Nothing else? Josh, nothing to add? Kelton?
I'm excited to see what happens next year, to see who moves up to Division 1 and to see who moves down to Division 2 next year. It's going to be a tight battle in both divisions, and I'm excited to see what happens next year.
I agree. All right. We are now going to move on to the AUS. So they had two meets. The first was, and I'm going to apologize to everyone in the AUS as I try to say this, the Ambi Leger Invitational. Dalhousie, their dominance just continued. Acadia, their second place streak continued. And UNB and Mount Allison were actually really, really close in everything. But I don't have a ton to say about it because the big one of this month was Kemp Fry, which was hosted by Dalhousie. Dalhousie and Acadia, once again, were 1 and 2 in this meet. They are also both now ranked in the top 10. Dow's men and women are both in the top 10, while Acadia's women are in the top 10. Memorial, third place, as they've been recently. And overall, there's just been a ton of records broken. Chris Weeks of Memorial University broke 3 AUS records in the 50 free, 50 fly, and the 100 free. Plus, many different relay records fell for Memorial specifically. Gordon Shorts of Acadia broke 2 AUS records in the 50 breast and the 200 IM. Ella Collins broke an AUS record in the 50 breast. Regan Crowell of Dalhousie set new Dow records in the 400 and 800 free, while Juliana L. from Mount Allison broke the 1500 meter team record, not at Kemp Fry, but I thought it was worth mentioning. So, Josh, you actually used to swim. You told us this just today. You used to swim with Chris Weeks. How would you characterize him? Is he very driven? Is he very motivated? Are you surprised that he's been able to break AUS records? Or are you like, yes, he definitely always had this in?
I gotta say, I'm not surprised at all. From what I know with Chris Weeks, he is fast. That's the only way to really describe it. He's really fast, and I'm very happy to see that he's breaking all these records. I'm honestly surprised he hasn't broken more. He's going to do a lot of great things. I'm curious to see what he's going to do at USports, knowing that he already has, I think, 2 qualifying USports times so far. So seeing what he can pull off is going to be very interesting. I've swam with a lot of the swimmers at AUS right now, actually. So seeing Chris Weeks pull ahead, and even a lot of the other guys that I used to swim with, it's great to see.
All right. Kelton, do you have anything to add?
Well, I think it is very cool to see all of these records being broken. There was a lot of fast swimming out east, and I find that the AUS gets slept on a lot because the teams usually aren't as big as the Ontario teams, Quebec teams, or the teams out west. But still, they're showing that they're there to race and that they're ready to compete.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think these teams are really slept on, and they have every single team in the AUS has at least one big name. They have one big name who's out there breaking records, winning races, and again, we're going to see them all at USports in the new year, and we'll see what they're able to do. I would love to see an AUS team in the top 10 this year. As last year, I believe only Dalhousie was able to make it into the top 10. All right, last but not least, we have Canada West. The College Cup, it was hosted by UBC Thunderbirds, and the women were able to win the meet, and the men of UBC were also able to win the meet. Now, those who already know what happened at Canada West may be surprised to hear that. Those of you who don't know what happened at Canada West yet should make sure you're following UniSwim Canada on Instagram. That's UNI Swim Canada on Instagram. And one thing that I love to see is Alberta came 3rd place at both of those, really cementing themselves as the number 3 team in both men and women out west. Kelton, anything to add?
I think it's cool to see Alberta up there with the UBC Thunderbirds and University of Calgary. Yes, they're 2 and 400 points behind them, but all the teams that are below them are much lower. On the men's side, University of Lethbridge was 250 points behind them. And on the women's side, it was actually a very tight race, I'm realizing right now. University of Victoria was 1.5 points behind University of Alberta. So to see them narrowly edge them out is very cool to see.
Now you may be noticing that the RSEQ was not mentioned, as there was no meet that all the teams went to as a team, but they're actually in the water today, the day of recording, December 1st. They're going to be in the pool at, I believe, 5 o'clock. So look forward to that. Hopefully there'll be a post about them on our Instagram at UniSwim Canada. That's UNI Swim Canada. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Goodbye.